stop scrolling. Not because this video is urgent. Because the scroll itself is the story. Every thumb swipe, every rage comment, every angry screenshot shared at midnight feeds the same open mouth. That mouth has no name on a birth certificate. Call the mouth the machine. The machine does not care which side of the argument you are on. The machine cares about one thing only, that you are still here, still watching, still typing. Northwest turned 13 and the internet turned north into a product launch. A magazine cover. Blue hair. Piercings. A corset strapped around a child's chest. And two mega-famous parents circling each other like lawyers while the algorithm swallows the whole family whole. The argument everyone wants to have, Kim versus Kanye, good mother versus absent father, that argument is the distraction. That argument is the fuel. That argument paid for the photo shoot and wrote the caption. So here is the thesis nobody in the mainstream will say out loud. North has 3 parents. Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. And the third parent, the one nobody can sue, the one nobody can divorce, the one that never blinks, the feed itself. The third parent raised this cover the way a factory builds a car. Once the third parent is visible, the public fight between the 2 human parents starts looking like a scripted match staged for the fourth wall. The fourth wall is the screen in front of you. Say the name again because names matter. The third parent. The engagement economy. The recommendation engine. The feed. Whatever the name, the job is identical. Convert human attention into revenue and never stop. Kim and Kanye supply the plot. The comments supply the drama. The third parent collects tuition from every single watcher. And the child in the middle pays the real price. Not in money, but in something that never comes back. A childhood. Before going further, one confession. This video is also a product of the machine. This channel lives on the same currency. The honest difference is that this script refuses to pretend otherwise. The screamers on both sides sell certainty. This video sells the uncomfortable mirror. Keep that in mind while the receipts get laid out. Keep that in mind when the mirror points at the viewer. The other standard move is moral panic. Adults shaking heads at adult magazines while the same adults refresh the comment count. The panic is performative. The panic gets paid. Everyone in this story gets paid except the subject. North gets a brand. North gets a deadline. North gets a childhood that reads like a press release. Everyone else gets paid. Start with the facts, because facts anchor the outrage. Dazed Magazine, Autumn 2026 issue. Interview conducted by Mario's Mistadis. Photographs shot by Gus Van Sant, the same Gus Van Sant who built a career filming the beautiful wreckage of young fame. Read that sentence twice. The photographer chosen for this cover made art about kids being consumed by fame. And there stands North, 13 years old, styled like a miniature adult, selling a mood no 13-year-old can price. Because the cover is not the point. The cover is the packaging. The point is the pipeline underneath. North did not walk into a magazine office alone. North was walked in by the brand. 20 years of the Kardashian machine taught the world that a body is a billboard, that private life is inventory, that daughters are the next generation of content. Every sister sold the same silhouette. Kim sold the same dream to millions. Dreams expire. The brand needs a new face. North is the restock. Study the details the defenders wave away. The corset. The tutu. The mouth open in a pose that mimics a vocabulary the child does not own. The piercings, later flagged as infected in a promo poster. A 13-year-old with infected piercings styled for an adult fashion magazine, while the official line describes artistic freedom. Read the description again. Artistic freedom for a child who cannot legally sign a photographer's release form. Kim answered the backlash on a podcast famous for unfiltered adult conversation and admitted past mistakes with North style choices. The podcast became the venue where a mother explains a child's magazine photos to a grown audience. The irony does not need a caption. The adults insist the imagery is innocent. The adults keep selecting adult rooms to make that speech. Kim's own response to the outcry deserves a closer look. Kim clapped back at claims of being too lenient, insisting rules exist behind the scenes. Rules. The word appears a lot in Kardashian interviews. Rules about what the world sees. Rules about the image. Nobody ever hears a rule about the pace, about saying no to a cover, no to a campaign, no to a launch that can wait a decade. The only rules that matter are the ones nobody quotes. Add the music video to the file. Megyn Kelly did, complaining not only about the magazine cover but about North appearing in music videos with adult-coded imagery. A 13-year-old inside the family's entertainment content machine. Generation 2. Kim defended the artistic expression. The pattern repeats across every medium. A child pressed into adult visual language while the caption insists the child is having fun. Even the praise arrives in product terms. The family celebrated the cover as a milestone. Pride in North's artistry, pride in the shoot. Complex covered the parents' glowing reaction. Imagine the milestone language applied to anything else a 13-year-old does. A math trophy. A school play. A first job. The family's milestone vocabulary belongs to marketing departments. That is the tell. The nepotism angle circles the same center. Everyone notices that North's opportunities arrive without auditions, without struggle, without waiting. Nepotism complaints miss the deeper wound. The kid did not even get to choose the industry. The industry got handed the kid. North inherits not a career but a brand mandate. Grow up famous, perform on schedule, continue the bloodline of content. Inheritance in this family is a production contract. Now for the uncomfortable history lesson. Name one child star who exited this industry whole. Judy Garland received pills at an age when most kids receive homework. Britney Spears received a shaved head, a breakdown, and a conservatorship. Hayden Panettiere survived long enough to write the memoir, a book about the machine that almost erased the author. Lindsay Lohan, Macaulay Culkin, Gary Coleman. Every generation feeds a fresh child into the grinder and then acts stunned when the mash comes out the other end. The industry calls the result a cautionary tale. The industry never calls the industry the cause. The same script in every decade. A child is told the child is special. A child is told fame equals love. A child is wrapped in paid adults whose paychecks depend on the child's performance. 20 years pass. The child sits in a recording studio narrating an audiobook about a childhood sold out from under the child. The public cries. The machine streams. The cycle restarts. The tell-all market is the most reliable business in entertainment. Publishers know the book is coming. Agents know the book is coming. The only open questions are the year and the casualty count. North is 13, and the opening chapters already sit on newsstands. The miracle would be North never writing that book. The tragedy is that the parents are currently producing the marketing campaign for the book. One magazine cover at a time. Here is the difference between North and every child star who came before. Judy Garland was discovered. Britney was discovered. North was born inside the feed. North's first public moment played to a global audience before North could speak a sentence. North never had a before. No version of North exists that was not already content, already watched, already monetized. The machine did not catch North late in the game. The machine built the crib. That difference changes everything and changes nothing. Everything because the standard sympathy, so young, so much pressure, misses the true shape of the story. North did not become famous. North was manufactured famous, assembled to a launch schedule like a flagship phone. Nothing, because the exit remains identical. The same memoir. The same podcast tour. The same documentary where a grown woman still in 20s explains that nobody asked North what North wanted, only what the brand required. Britney's father controlled a fortune and a life with legal blessing. North's parents control images nobody legally contests. The machinery evolves. The mechanics stay. Fame at 13 is a loan with compound interest. Interest always comes due. The only question is who co-signs the debt, and the industry's answer is always the same. The child co-signs, without signature, without reading, without a lawyer in the room. Some will say the comparison insults North. North has every advantage, the argument goes. Money, access, protection, love. Money bought everything except privacy. Access bought everything except a normal classroom. Protection hired every expert except the one who says no. Love arranged every photo shoot. The advantages are real and the arithmetic does not change. Attention at 13 compounds into damage at 30. No bank account cancels that debt. Read the memoirs of the survivors and the same chapter appears under different names. The chapter titled The First Time the Child Understood Being a Product. For Judy Garland, the moment arrived on a studio lot. For Britney, the moment arrived inside a costume. For North, the moment arrives before any memoir can be written. The chapter is being filmed weekly by paparazzi, fans, and family cameras all at once. The survivors wrote the book as adults. North's book is being ghostwritten in real time by the feed. Consider what the survivors all say about the adults. The adults were not monsters in most cases. The adults were enthusiastic. The adults believed the opportunities were blessings. The adults told themselves the child wanted the life. The self-deception is the engine. Nobody in North's story needs to be a villain for the outcome to be tragic. Enthusiastic adults with access and affection cause the same damage as villains, with better press. The difference between normal childhood ambition and manufactured ambition comes down to authorship. A child who draws comics at the kitchen table owns the dream. A child handed a magazine cover owns nothing. The dream belongs to the team that styled, lit, photographed, retouched, and captioned the child. Authorship is the line. North's face is on the cover. North's name is in the headline. North's will is not in the byline. That absence is the whole story. The favorite defense in the comment sections is consent. North wanted the cover. North wanted the blue hair. North wanted the piercings. North is an old soul. North is a boss. Fine. Let's talk about what a want means at 13. A want at 13 is 11 years of conditioning wearing a costume. A want at 13 is a parrot reciting the house rules. A child raised inside a brand wants what the brand wants, because the brand is the only world that child has ever known. North grew up watching Kim glow under studio lights. North grew up watching strangers applaud every posed photograph. North absorbed the house lesson early. Attention is love, outrage is attention, silence means invisible. So when North speaks the words about wanting to model, the words are not a free choice. The words are the house rules speaking through a child's mouth. And the adults can tell the difference, because the adults wrote the house rules. Consent has a legal flaw in every modern country. A 13-year-old cannot sign a binding contract. A 13-year-old cannot consent to medical treatment. A 13-year-old cannot vote, cannot drive, cannot enlist, cannot buy a lottery ticket. Yet a 13-year-old can consent to being styled like a grown fantasy and shipped to every phone on earth? That is not consent. That is consent theater. The crowd applauds the performance while the adults file the paperwork. Coogan's Law exists because Hollywood once skipped the paperwork and ate a generation of wages. Child labor laws exist because children were worked to the bone before the bones broke. Every rule protecting minors in media is a scar left by a child the industry already consumed. North floats past those rules the way the elite float past velvet ropes. Not because North is stronger. Because the parents are richer. The rules were never a barrier. The rules were a warning nobody heeded. Watch how the defense shifts when cornered. First the cover is innocent. Then North is an artist. Then the parents are just supporting a dream. Then the outrage monsters are the problem. Every shift moves the camera away from the same fixed fact. An adult magazine, a child model, and two adults who could have said no. Instead the adults said yes with a smile and a hashtag. The word no was available in every language. Nobody used the word. The every kid dresses up defense collapses under one question. Where is the magazine? Halloween costumes and bedroom mirrors stay inside the family. A global magazine cover performs the image for profit, forever, without the child's future consent. One is play. The other is production. The defenders keep confusing the two on purpose, because the confusion is profitable. The world has weirdos defense deserves the same treatment. Yes, the internet contains predators. Yes, images of young people attract the wrong kind of attention. The existence of predators makes the adult decision more important, not less. An adult who styles a child in adult fashion while knowing the audience includes predators is not a victim of the internet. That adult is baiting the internet. The world being sick does not excuse handing a child to the sickness. Render the counterargument in the simplest terms. If the cover were truly for North, the cover would wait. The career would wait. The branding would wait. Every single opportunity North pursues at 18 remains available at 18, plus 10 years of privacy, education, and a self that belongs to North alone. Nothing is lost by waiting except the market's impatience. Nothing is gained by rushing except the market's appetite. The rush is the confession. Now the part of this script designed to make people angry at me. The comment section is apparent too. Every furious post about this cover is a payment into the algorithm. Every Leave North Alone tweet is a deposit into the same account. The outrage economy does not distinguish defenders from attackers. The outrage economy only counts the engagement. Defenders came. Attackers came. The third parent cashed the checks from both lines. Run the arithmetic. The cover costs nothing to argue about. The rage costs nothing to produce. The reactions cost nothing to watch. And every free second of human attention gets auctioned to advertisers at premium prices. North is the inventory. The argument is the campaign. The viewers are the buyers. Nobody in this transaction walks away clean, including the people typing prayers with one thumb while the feed scrolls with the other. The worst part, the part nobody wants to type. The strategy works. The brand does not care about the morality of the cover. The brand cares about the metric. Outrage drives shares. Shares drive reach. Reach drives value. A controversy that makes everyone furious is a controversy that makes everyone famous. Kim knew this arithmetic before North could count. Every scandal in Kardashian history followed the same ledger. Bad press converts to profit better than good press ever did. So the real question changes shape. The question is not whether the cover is appropriate. The question is not whether Kim is a good mother or Kanye an absent father. The question is whether an entire attention economy is allowed to raise children. The third parent has no license, no training, no accountability, no conscience. The third parent only has a growth curve. And the third parent's most successful product category has always been young people learning to perform. Every platform claims community guidelines protect minors. The guidelines protect the platform. The takedowns arrive after the millions. The policy pages written in careful legal language exist so the machine can say the machine tried. The machine never tries. The machine optimizes. Minor content generates the strongest engagement signals on the internet, and the strongest signals get the most distribution. That is not a bug. That is the specification. The platforms publish endless reports about well-being and screen time. The same platforms run recommendation engines optimized to keep minors watching longer. The reports are reassurance theater. The engines are the actual policy. When the theater and the engine conflict, the engine always wins, because the engine has the revenue and the theater has the press release. Think about the fleet while looking at the flagship. North is not the only child in this machine. The feed farms thousands of child influencers, toddlers opening toys, kids reviewing products, teenagers selling skincare routines. North is the highest profile example of a system that monetizes childhood at scale. The outrage about North is real, and the same outrage ignores the neighborhood where the same economics replays with fewer cameras and less money. The system does not discriminate. The system harvests. The term exposure gets thrown around like a payment. The child gets exposure, the argument goes, and exposure is priceless. Exposure is the oldest con in the industry. Exposure converts a childhood into an audience and calls the exchange a gift. The parents earn the audience through a lifetime of work. The child inherits the audience without a choice and pays for the inheritance with privacy. Exposure is the invoice wearing a crown. The strangest detail in this whole story might be the family's addiction to being watched. A family that built an empire on visibility cannot imagine invisibility. The audience is the oxygen. The cameras are the furniture. A family that cannot stop being watched cannot protect a child from being watched. The protection would require the one thing the family has never practiced: looking away. Looking away is the skill missing from the dynasty. Here is the clock nobody is watching. California allows a child to choose a primary parent at 14. North turns 14 soon. Custody math does not care about magazine covers. And yet the covers keep arriving, timed like clockwork. Ask why a child's image floods the front pages precisely during the years custody becomes a choice. Ask what the cover is actually for. The answer is not art. The answer is positioning. Positioning for a narrative the adults need to win. California's law gets cited like a weapon, but the law hides a sadder truth. The custody choice exists because the state knows a child deserves a voice in the child's own life. The state trusts 14-year-olds to choose a home. The same state would never trust a 14-year-old to sign a modeling contract or approve a magazine layout. That gap is not a loophole. That gap is the adult's knowledge that the child's voice frightens the brand. The child's voice is the one asset the brand cannot control. Positioning for the story the family wants the public to believe. North is an artist. North drives the decisions. The parents merely support a dream. Every cover becomes an alibi. Every interview becomes a press release. And the child in the center keeps aging one magazine at a time, until the child is old enough to read the documents back to the world. The documents are being typeset right now, in real time, on glossy paper.